Hi everybody, Mark Tagorn here. Welcome to the Photographer Academy. And yep, you're in for another great session today, I'm absolutely sure, where we're going to be speaking to Alexander Prinze, an amazing photographer from Amsterdam. And what is even dearer to my heart, everything that we're going to be looking at is in black and white. Anyway, before we start, I've got to plug the Academy. Why aren't you a member if you're here? We need your support, as it were. So the Photographer Academy, if you don't know, is an online training resource for photographers. We're in our 16th year. Yes, I'm still 21. And basically, we've got everything there from, getting going from the beginning to the more advanced skills. I've been lucky over the past 16 years to be joined by some amazing photographers who've either made film for us or more recently take part in our interviews and everything else with it. We got new content that goes live each week. Just go to thephotographeracademy.com. If you scroll to the base here, this will give you an idea of the kind of the content that we have. We're kind of Europe's hidden kind of training company as such. Once you become a member from the main page, you'll actually just click onto here. But if you'd like to actually join, you can click pretty much from anywhere on the site, and it'll actually bring you onto the membership page. And as you can see here, you can join for as little as £100 for the whole year, where you get access to all our legacy and the new content as well. Plus, we got a load of stuff. I'm just finishing a new book as we speak that will be available to members during July, as well as kind of assets for Photoshop and e-posing guides, you name it. I think we're pretty much kind of delivering some of the best training that is still out there, even though we've been around for a very long time, as it were. Enough about me. We're going to talk about Alex, and I can see Alex is there for us already. Hi, how are you doing?
Hi, Mark. How are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, Alex, I've already said to you before we went live, I'm so pleased that I've found you. And again, you know, I kind of use different platforms to find different photographers, but they usually ended up at my door through the likes of a Purple Port or whatever it is, and that's where I found you as well with it. I've got loads and loads of questions. Before we kind of get going, you've not been doing this long, have you?
No, I got my first camera when I turned 30, sorry. I'm 40 now at the moment, so that's 10 years ago. And predominantly I made like pictures here in Amsterdam of buildings, so street photography most of the time, and animal photography for what it's worth. But that was just for fun. And I actually started last year ago, around the 13th, 14th of March, 2024. So yeah, with this kind of photography, only just a year.
And I've said to you already, I mean, I just can't believe the quality of the image that we're going to see and everything else. I'm excited as well to actually see where you're going. I think that's one of the reasons when you kind of find somebody who hasn't been going for a huge amount of time, I think it's a journey for me to watch and for others to watch as well. And I hope they're going to sign up to your Instagram page and follow you there, because I think we're going to be on a bit of a journey. I think you're going to be creating some amazing different photography over the next 10, 20 years with it. And I hope I don't disappoint you today.
No.
And kind of knock you off, because I find one of the things that when you're kind of fresh at things as well, you kind of just do your own thing. You get on your own road instead of kind of finding the style a bit too soon. How are you developing now? Do you see yourself already beginning to change, or are you putting yourself in a certain lane?
Well, if you look at my Instagram, my first pictures were of my ex-girlfriend, and they were a little bit fake, and I used a very, very old a camera of my granddad, actually, but it was a little bit boudoirish, a little bit sexy-ish, a little bit. But first I started color, but then I thought there's a romantic feel about black and white. So then I thought, I'm really going to focus on the black and white. And when I started with her, these ideas started rolling in my head, and I really wanted to to start, but to start something is it's quite hard. I also found it a little bit scary. I didn't know where I could get the models from, or I didn't know any other photographers. So yeah, I had to kick myself under the butt a little bit to do some research. Where do you get the models from? How does it work? And I mean, just start taking pictures. So that's how I started, actually.
Good news is Europe has some amazing models. It really does, and such an eclectic mix of
Yes.
skin color, body shapes, facial shapes, you name it. You know, you pretty much don't have to go too far to
No, you're absolutely right. Yeah, you're absolutely right. And we're so lucky with Mediterranean models, with Ukrainian models, a lot of beautiful models living in the UK, but also the Dutch models are very amazing, beautiful. I mean, we're very spoiled.
Yeah, I shot in Amsterdam, in fact, many years ago. I was taken out there by Last Light to do a bit of a kind of a tour. Last Light's the name of the past. It's Manfrotto now, I think it is. That owns all the reflectors and so on with it. But I was taken out there by them, and I was put in this little studio, and it was like, why can't we go outside? Because the light is just superb.
Yes.
You know, and you've got me stuck in a little studio space. But of course, I'm a prostitute, so it means I was being paid to be there. So I'm told to do what I'm doing, so I did it anyway, kind of thing with it. Yeah, cool place. Anyway, look, I've called today No Flash, No Filters, Just Raw Emotions. Yeah, kind of taken from a bit of your text. What drew you to working exclusively with natural light photography?
Because I didn't have any flashes. I didn't have the flashes or artificial lights or that stuff like that. I just started with a camera that I found through somebody who worked at Sony, cheaper than normal. Yeah. I had one lens, 88 millimeter, and that's it. That's what I could work with. That's what I could afford at the time, and yeah.
Brilliant. Tap on the back to you there. What have you seen as the biggest challenges? Because even though, as you said, you picked up a camera 10 years ago, probably the biggest transformation, as you said, has been about a year. What's been the biggest challenges for you?
Well, to learn how to work with models. So,
okay.
I mean, I can photograph a building is just standing there, and when the light hits, the light hits. But with the models, I mean, it's a living person. Is she does she know what to do? Is she a model? Does she bring in her own style and her own ideas, or is she more passive? How do you handle that? I mean, all my models are in the nude, so I also wanted to make them feel comfortable, and so these are all things that I have to learn. And then I'm not talking about the lighting, is there something wrong? Is there a lag it's somewhere? So it was also yeah, working together with models. That was something I'd never done before.
Biggest thing. Okay, cool. We'll move to the first image anyway.
Yes.
As we go there, how do you adapt to the available light when it's not an ideal light for you, or is there no such thing as ideal light for you yet?
Well, I have. Well, we will see it in later pictures, but there's one window in my very small apartment here in Amsterdam, and outside this window there's like a courtyard, and one wall of the courtyard is painted white, and that creates an enormous amount of light, even when the sun is not there. So sometimes when it's cloudy, still there's enormous amount of light coming in, and that's about it. So the light I don't really have to worry about, even on a cloudy day. Again, now my lenses are a little bit more professional, so they let a lot of light in. But being worried about light, I don't really have to worry about that. The only thing I have to worry about is the way the model is facing.
Very good. So you chose this image as the first image.
Yes.
What's the story behind this one?
Well, this is my very first image. And
Oh,
I'm still in love with this image. First of all, this model is Dutch. Her Instagram is called Noesje. You should definitely follow her. She's an amazing model, very young model though. When she first came here, she was 20 years old, and she was standing in front of the door, and she looked like a kid. That made me feel very uncomfortable. And I was doubting of working with her because I mean she looked very young, but you know we tried anyways. And when she was modeling, I mean, she became a totally different person. She was very professional. I mean, she's very photogenic, and I fell in love with her Afro style hair. This a picture with the white veil is something I thought of that was in my mind, and yeah, in the end, I still love this picture. I like the little goosebumps on her chest. I love her lips. I love her hair, and I love the way the light is falling straight into her face, and it fades a little bit on the side, in contrast with the fabric. So yeah, this was my very first picture, and when I saw this picture, I thought, okay, yeah, I really want to continue in this because I thought it was a very interesting picture, and it got me really excited.
hmm. You mentioned about the big window. How far away from the window is she, and how far is the wall away from
About
the window?
between 30 and 50 centimeters.
Okay, really close then. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
And you using any reflector on the opposite side or anything, or is it just stood by the window and bit of post?
That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Very simple. No extra lighting in adjusting the photos. This is the light. So what I can do in my program is I can let the white colors get a little bit more powerful.
Mm-hmm.
But this is it. There's no extra lighting, no artificial lighting, no flash. This is it. Yeah.
I think it's a great place to start, in fact, because it looks like a big softbox. You've used a window in the perfect way, and you'd never tell that this is your first photograph, which is absolutely. Anybody who's watching, if you're not going to turn out the first photograph like this, don't worry about it. I mean, this is special. That's why Alex is speaking to us today. Really love it and things really. So, what about kind of aperture choice and okay, you were stuck with the one lens. So, what about your aperture and everything else? Are you working with a different lens today than you were then, or?
Yeah. So now I use a 25 by 70.
Okay.
So I can just stand and zoom in and zoom out. Before that, I had to move myself because the lens wouldn't allow it. And to be honest with you, I don't really mess around with very technical things. The thing I look at the most is the position of the model, what is in frame, and the lighting, and I don't mess around with anything else. Most of the time, I just put it on autofocus, and that's about it. So I try to keep it very, very simple. Again, I just started this a year ago, so now I want to get a little bit more into the technical thing after a year and see how I can change it up. But this was in the beginning, so I kept it very, very simple.
Was this shot with the zoom lens then, or was this shot with the fixed lens?
This was shot with a fixed lens.
Yeah, I think that's the power. I mean, the problem with a zoom lens at times, it can actually take a little bit of the character out of some of the images, even though it gives us a different perspective and everything else.
Yes.
I think I'm a fixed lens fan, so you're not.
Oh, are you?
Right? Yeah, you're not going to preach to the wrong way with me and things, really.
Okay.
Obviously, the likes of weather must really affect you, because obviously when it gets darker or whatever it is, you're going to have to really start to actually really rely on slower shutter speeds or very high ISOs. How are you coping with that?
Well, Mark, like I said, I was worried about that, but for some kind of reason, even though right now the weather in Amsterdam in the Netherlands, it's a little, it drizzles a little bit and it's a bit cloudy. but for some kind of reason, there's still a lot of light coming in. And you've been to Amsterdam, you've seen all these very big windows. The windows are this big to let the light in, because before that it was offices or warehouses, and they need to have the light to see what's going on. So there's a reason for that, that all our windows are as big as they are, and for some kind of reason they let in a tremendous amount of light. So even when it's a cloudy day, I'm a little bit anxious, and I'd rather have sunshine. But again, what is true is that my window of taking photos of the models is quite short. So it's about 2-3 hours. So between 10 o'clock in the morning and 12 o'clock in the midday, and then the sun is on the other side, and the light is getting less.
So being tempted to go outside much, or to even think about artificial light, or you're just saying no artificial light?
Well, there's one picture that's coming up that's outside, but for some kind of reason, I also have a lot of props here in the house and a lot of things we can use. So for some kind of reason, I always stay in here, stay in my place.
Good for you. Our next image.
Yeah, there's this picture actually.
Yeah.
So I chose this picture. This is Min Lee. She is from Canada. Also, I really have to follow this model because she's absolutely amazing. Very professional model. Very unique look. This is my first outside shoot in like a nature reserve close to Amsterdam. Yeah, I was quite proud of this picture because it feels a little bit like a movie picture, like a scene of a movie. It's very dreamy. It's very because I know from what angle this picture is taken off, but people have to see from, okay, there's water behind her. Is this Photoshop, or is this? So I thought this was a very dreamy picture that I'm actually quite proud of, to be honest with you.
Yeah, it's lovely. How did you cope with the outside world? Was it sheer panic, or just no, just let the camera do its job? How did you kind of cope with it?
Well, I mean, it was a beautiful day. As you can see, the glistening on the water. It's the sun hitting the water. So I wasn't very worried about light, or there were no clouds. It was a very hot day as well. I mean, there in this nature reserve are not a lot of people. So we had our privacy to play around with light and sometimes take the kimono off and on. So yeah, there was actually no, not really. It was not very stressful. What was very interesting is we tried to figure out the angle. So at first I was down into the water at my waist, taking pictures up, and then we tried to turn around. So she's laying on a bridge on her back, leaning slightly over the water, and I was a little bit more above her. There was like this rail where I was leaning on. Again, this is still with the fixed lens, and this came out. I thought it was really lovely. I wanted to do something with the shimmering of the light on the water, and I was thinking about how I could incorporate it in this picture.
It feels like dreams coming out of the head, kind of almost, dreamlike kind of element of things. Yeah, quite ethereal.
Yes.
Choosing models, because it can be expensive, isn't it? Really, when you're just doing photography for fun and everything else with it. When you choose your model, are you looking for something specific in a model now, or how does it work for you when you make a choice?
Well, I like to incorporate a lot of different models. So dark skin, Asian background, Slavic background, so more Ukrainian, Russian, those kind of models. Mediterranean models, I think, are very, very beautiful as well. But I think when I find them interesting, I try to book them, and I can also sometimes see, because other photographers took pictures of her, that she was she was a very good actress. And she gave a lot of input herself, so it also works more easy for models that that put their own input in. And I wanted an Asian model. I was looking for that.
Yeah. So I mean, I love this next image. It's just absolutely. I hope it's massive on a wall somewhere.
Yes, yeah,
Because it should be. You know, reminds me of kind of a 1980s, 1990s, could even be a 70s. I'm trying to think of the photographer, but it has this. Because I love all the feather collars as well myself. Not to wear them, I mean, for models. But I absolutely.
You will look great, Mark.
You haven't seen me naked. It's not a good sight. Oh, honestly, no matter what. I'm trying to think of the model who she reminds me of. It might come back to me, but I'm getting old. What's the story behind this model and this shoot?
Well, this model is Xenia is her name, and she's a Ukrainian model. Absolutely beautiful model. I love her hair. So I love the short hair that gives kind of look. The funny thing about these pictures with her is, first of all, she was ill, and second of all, she had her lady thing of the month. So, but she still came around and wanted to model. So what you can see is that her face is slightly puffy. So we had to work around it, and her eyes are slightly more closed because, yeah, like I said, she was a little bit ill. But again, she was a beautiful model, and these feathers actually I found here in a costume store in Amsterdam, and they're black with a greenish hue.
Yeah.
Which you can't see, but I also have this one in color. And I thought this is a very, very powerful picture. She with the short hair and the feathers, her beautiful body, and her pose with her hand in her sides. Yeah, I really love this picture. But as you can see, her face is slightly puffy. So,
but you would know that we wouldn't.
No,
we just look at it, and that actually is the model's features to us, isn't it? You know. And as far as the kind of the post-production is concerned, how much work are you doing? Are you enjoying the post-production side, or do you keep it as simple as you can? Or how does it work? You do the shoot, and then what happens to the image flow?
Well, actually, I start working at the pictures straight after the model is gone, because I'm very, very excited to just see what came out. Most of the time, you see it on your little screen on your camera, but it's something totally different when you see it blown up on your laptop screen, and then put in the black and white. But sometimes I already know that the pictures are going to be amazing, so I can't retain myself to not get to editing. And like I told my friend last month, is sometimes I'm at 3 o'clock in the morning, I'm still in these pictures, dreaming away and looking at them and think, oh my goodness, I love this picture. So yeah, I'm getting sometimes a little bit excited about my own work. But yeah, that's how most of the time the process is going.
I think that's lovely to have a romance with your own images. No, I really mean that, because at times, you know, and I admitted it, in fact, on I can't remember if it was a model interview or a photographer interview recently. And I said, the one good thing about me selling the studio 3 years ago is I've actually now got chance to actually go into image mining. I've got so many images that have never been touched. The video boys used to say, right, we need stills by tomorrow, please. And it was like, whoa, hang on a minute. And you're on such a schedule that you really did. I didn't get a chance to even really kind of look at a lot of the images. And I'm looking through these images and I'm editing them now, and I'm having as much fun editing them as I did with the shoot kind of years and years ago kind of thing. By the way, these collars are available online, guys. If you're thinking about you love it like me, I don't think I got them off Amazon, but I think they might have gotten from a Chinese importer. But they do them in whites, and as you explained, the black ones have this almost a peacock sheen in the green to them, isn't it? And they're absolutely fantastic. Don't buy one of them, buy two of them, because they're great. And in fact, if you're a photographer of children as well, they're amazing for teens. So basically you're shooting above the actual nipple line, and they've got their kind of boob tubes on, but it's a great way to disguise the boob tube below.
Yes.
And for boudoir photography, if you've got a client who wants almost a faceless image, they're a great prop with it. So I'm really glad you featured them here, because I mean, it looks great. Okay, so do you shoot raw as well as a JPEG, or what are you doing?
No, I shoot raw.
Good boy.
Yeah,
there you go. Yeah. I ask all the time. It still blows my mind when I hear photographers going, "No, shoot a JPEG with it." And
no,
as a film photographer, you only get one chance to develop it.
Yes, exactly.
As a raw photographer, you get a chance to develop it and redevelop it and redevelop it and so on with it. How do you kind of go about the composition? Because this is the same girl. Yeah, which I love as well.
Yeah, and also the headpiece comes from the same store, so they have them in black, they have them in gold. This is pearl white.
Lovely.
I borrowed this mink kind of, what is it, not really a vest, but this lady thing from a colleague of mine, and I wanted to especially use this with her because I thought her hair was looking very 1920s, not 1930s, the hairstyle, and for some kind of reason, this gives me very like old nostalgic 30s kind of feel. I tried to keep it slightly grainy. It's not really my style, but I tried to keep it grainy-ish.
What kind of composition do you have in mind? Because obviously this is still in the fixed lens time. So you were obviously a little bit more controlled. The compositional skill here, I think, is absolutely stunning, like we just saw the last image. Is there anything that, have you done training in composition or anything? Where's this kind of coming from? Or is it you a natural?
It's in my head, I think. And so I have a few ideas. And then as we go, the model sometimes say, well, maybe this angle is good. Sometimes I ask her to turn around. Sometimes she's just relaxing and I'm looking at her and I say, well, keep it like this because hold this position, you look amazing. It's a little bit of playing around, to be honest with you. And besides making these photos, it's the creative process behind it that I really, really enjoy. So yeah, it's trial and error.
Yeah, well, you do come from the land of Rembrandt, so it's naturally in the grain of every Dutchman perhaps, kind of thing with it, Yeah, I really love that. What's the story behind this image?
So this is a Lithuanian model who is called Matilda, also very very professional, very cool model. By the way, all the models are very nice girls, very kind. I always have a blast with them, so I wanted to put that out there. But what I like about this model is the structure of her chin. So it's almost like she's got a more of a manly chin. And it's almost like she's chiseled out of marble. So that's why I use the little fork, is to show like the hard lines of the chin, but she's still soft. So that's why there's this little pokey thingy with the fork. And again, Yeah, I love to be honest with you, I really love the shades. Again, coming from only outside lighting. Um, I really like her lips. And we did a few things with the fork. One is you stick it in her tongue. One, this one with the cheek, and there's another one where we use the little fork for, and um, yeah, I mean it's this one chest that is. So what I try to do is you have to look more than one or two or three times what's going on, and it's almost like a little puzzle. And to be honest with you, let your fantasies go wild, whatever it is. Sometimes just see a girl with a pick, with a fork. But the idea behind it was her quite strong cheek, or her chin, sorry, and then the softness of her cheek.
She's got supermodel kind of structure. She's got a quirkiness in some way. Do you know what I mean? To make her stand out, and definitely, it's that Scandinavian, European kind of flesh blonde kind of look as well with it, and things. Really, yeah, absolutely beautiful with that.
Yes.
Where are you finding your inspiration from? Oh, wrong. Let's go backwards. Where's your inspiration coming from?
From inside my head.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Are you?
So, for example, this picture is taken like 4 days ago, and this washing machine is my old washing machine because my parents gave me a new one. It's another story, but this was standing in my room, cluttering up my room, and I was waking up, and Polly is her name. Polly would come around 11 o'clock, and I was laying in my bed, and I looked at the washing machine, and I thought, well, I could incorporate something with that washing machine because it annoys me. So let's do something with it. And we moved the washing machine, and I put it on her. I asked her to put the towel on in her hair, and we put the towel inside. I put the towel inside, and she came up with this pose. And I'm to be honest with you, again, I don't want to toot my own horn too much, but I'm really in love with this picture because I love the lighting. I love the little subtle lighting in her neck and on her cheekbones. And it's almost like the washing machine is a socle, like the Roman pillars.
Yeah.
So yeah, the towel again with the little from Melkmeisje, so the milk girl from a very famous painting here in the Rijksmuseum, and that's what she remind me of. Sorry, Meisje met de Parel. Excuse me, the girl with the pearl. That's what she remind me of. So it's a little bit hint of that as well, and again the lighting I really love on this picture. So this was an idea that I came up with an hour before.
So as far as the input from the model is concerned, do you actively encourage that from the beginning, or do you kind of set out ideas of what you want to shoot with them? How does it work with you when you're booking a model?
Yeah, so first of all, at the beginning I've got some shots in my head, so I try to explain them and also show them what I was looking for. I mean, in the beginning, the first 30 minutes is a little bit of you need to still break the ice, and what kind of photographer I am and what kind of model I'm working with. But yeah, like I said, still all my models are very kind, very open, and when the ice is slightly more broken and we're a little bit more we are more settled, then also ideas come from her, or she said, well, I have this pose, or this side of my body is very nice, but this the idea with the washing machine is mine. The pose is all her.
Have you heard of Desiree Dolren, I think it's pronounced. She's Dutch. She was born similar time to me. But her use, not so much a fine art nude photographer, but a portrait photographer. And you spell it Desiree, yeah. And I can't remember if it's Dolron or Dalron. But her lighting reminds me of your lighting. It's this window-like quality and things, you know.
Okay, all right.
But it's very much more like you would experience a Rembrandt style of painterly color, you know, and so on with it and things really. But I find it familiar. There's also, I just looked it up online who it was, but there's a Hendrik Kirsten. Have you heard of them?
No.
And again, you mentioned about the girl with the pearl earrings. And basically he has a similar one with a head wrap, like a turban, with curlers in. And as soon as I saw this and you mentioned it, I went, who's that guy now? And I couldn't remember with it. But yeah, not the same, but I'm always fascinated, you know, coming from a fan of art and things, really, and a cultural element as well and things, really. But
please, Mark, send me these names.
Desiree, I would absolutely. I'm not even sure she's still alive now, kind of thing with it, you know.
Yeah, but I could maybe look it up on Google.
Yeah. But again, I don't want to change anything you're doing because I want you to take your own path with it. So as far as the models are concerned, when you're booking them, how much information are you able to give them about what's in your head? Because some models want quite a lot of information of what you're going to be doing. Others are kind of, you know, what are we doing? Blah, blah, blah. You're going to do this. You're going to do that. How much information do you find you're having to give to the model to kind of give them the kind of what to expect and what they're going to be doing?
Not that much, to be honest with you.
Cool.
Yeah, again, I try to keep it very, very simple and not make it too complicated. So I tell you the process when they come in. So I receive them here in my little apartment. I show them where the pictures are. Mostly they've been on my Instagram, so they recognize the window and they say, "Oh, how funny to see that this is the place where your pictures have been taken." Then I take them here to the front and sit them down, have some tea or some coffee or whatever. I do this thing. This little riddle that I always do is I try to make them feel safe. Always tell me if there's something I ask you don't want to do. I don't do open legs, blah, blah, blah. The door is never unlocked. So I have this thing to make them feel comfortable, and I show them where they can change. And to be honest with you, most of the times these girls are nude photographers, so they don't really have a problem with that. And then I have things in my mind. So I have my props. So for example, I have the washing machine or the feather thingy or the pearl. And I just ask them to put it on, sit down. I will make some pictures, and then we go from there. If there is a certain pose that I would like them to take, then I show them first. And for example, I always try to make sure that their private parts, I don't want to put private parts in my photo, so I always ask them to keep in mind of that and where the light's coming from, and that's about it. And sometimes, Mark, it's very easy to work with, for example, Min Lee and Xenia, because they are very, very professional, and Matilda also. But some models are a little bit more passive or just started, and I have to give them a little bit more, talk to them about the ideas that I have in my mind and show them what I was thinking of.
Cool. And because you're working in such a small space, a restricted space and things, does that frustrate you? Or does that really allow you to concentrate the mind on to a certain, because obviously if you're in a place with the model for 3-4 hours and you're shooting similar kind of images, does that frustrate you at all, or is there never time for frustration yet?
No. I mean, frustrate is maybe a big word, but I have to work with a very small space. But I'm used to that. So, I mean, I'm not used to a very big studio. So what I've never experienced, I won't. I'm not missing. I think this is very intimate, very small. Um, um, yeah, no, I don't find it. I don't find it hard at all, to be honest. Would I love to have a bigger studio? Yes, of course, definitely. But for now, these pictures come out, and so there's one little thing that I maybe found frustrating, because now you say, and I'm looking at the picture, you see this underneath this this board.
Yeah, the kickboard kind of thing. Yeah.
Yes, the kickboard kind of thing, and I'm not editing that out, but this is something that I'm slightly frustrated with, because I prefer to have it white. So now I was thinking of having like this whole white piece of paper coming out. That's the only thing that I find sometimes frustrated, because I'm not sure it distracts me. Maybe not the people that look at my pictures, but this is something that I found slightly frustrating.
In fact, in pretty much all our studio sets, we would not have a skirting board, we call it in UK here, or a kickboard. We wouldn't have it there, be plastered to the floor. However, to get a quick cove, because I never had a cove outside the commercial studio, and we used to create a simple white cove for portraiture by just actually a vinyl floor, a white vinyl floor, and you just allow it to curve up. But the thing is, then as soon as they're very close to the wall, you still see it no matter what. It doesn't worry me, the board, at all with it and things, really, you know. And what I kind of love is the honesty about the images. You're not trying to pretend to be a big studio. You're shooting in a space, and that space you really take ownership with it and things, really. Have you formed collaborations yet with any of the models to kind of work on a basis where it's kind of in a relationship, as far as you're shooting and it's not about the money and things? Have you found yourself a muse?
Not yet. I mean, this is Anastasia. I mean, she's an amazing model. She's absolutely beautiful. Yeah. So Anastasia is maybe a muse that I want to, but again, there, like you said, we are so spoiled here in Europe. We've got so many different models, skin tones, backgrounds, that there's still a lot of I can tap into model pool with so many models. So no, I still pay every model, so I'm not earning any money of it. It just costs me money. Again, Mark, it's a passion of mine that's very deep. Maybe I will get amused a little bit later. I mean, this model is, I mean, she's absolutely amazing. She's so absolutely beautiful, and the whole structure of her face and her body is I really love this picture. But yeah, no, not yet. I'm not there yet.
Cool. Let's talk about social media and sharing images. In other words, Instagram. We'll keep our language clean here. I know we chatted about beforehand, didn't you? You've had frustrations with Instagram and the likes of. Does that really frustrate the hell out of you?
Yeah, because I think it's a little bit of a double standard. First of all, it's American, so they're quite prude. And as you know, we as Europeans are a little bit more open and a little bit more free. And I mean, the naked body is the naked body. I mean, we all been born naked, and we will, I don't know, we not die naked, but I mean, this is just part of life, and I find it a little bit of a double standard. Now they have AI, I think, looking at pictures and if they think there's a nipple showing, or a little bit part of a bum, the AI pick it up. But most of the times, AI picks it up because I use white to cover some certain parts, and it's hard, I think, for the eye to see that it's not an actual nipple. So a lot of my pictures getting demonetized for no reason. So this frustrates me a little bit. And then sometimes on the Instagrams, I see other profiles that are, I mean, more extreme. But yeah, this is something we have to deal with.
So besides for the purple port, which we'll kind of go to and have a look at your Instagram soon and things, really, any thoughts on website yet or anything, so you can control your own content online?
Yeah, to be honest, Mark, I have to start with that. So I'm talking about this already for a long time, but I can't get myself to. But you're absolutely right. I should start a website. So if anybody is looking who is making websites and try to help me out, please hit me up. That would be awesome. But yeah, no, you're absolutely right. But this is the idea to start my own website, definitely.
I definitely recommend the likes of a smug mug for you straight away. It's something that you can do yourself, really easy to do. Great showing of images. It's also good to actually have a storage, because you don't need to minimize any images in JPEG or PNG, so you can upload all of your images and control them even from the site and things, really. But if you're ever stuck with that, give me a shout and I'll give you some kind of pointers on that with it and things, really.
Awesome. It would be awesome.
What's coming up next? What are you planning in the next few days, weeks, months? What have you got lined up? Anything?
Yeah, so on the 9th of June, I will get. Oh yeah, this image here. Yeah. Funny actually. The reason I picked this image out, Mark, is because I took this image. It was in the same session as the image before, and the image before I absolutely loved. I fell in love with it, and I thought this is going to be a banger, right? Then she took this pose, and I thought, yeah, fine, it's okay. This is the picture that everybody loves. This is my most beloved picture on Purple Port, on Instagram, on wherever. So the only thing I wanted to say with that is that as a photographer, and maybe you know it yourself as well, sometimes you think, well, this picture is going to be amazing. Everybody's going to love this picture. And it doesn't really come off the ground. And sometimes you think, well, it's fun, but it's not very special. And people absolutely love it. So that's why I chose this picture.
Yeah, it's a beautiful photograph. This is done on the medium zoom, though, isn't it?
Yes.
You can just tell.
Yeah.
It's lost it's lost the drop of the focus of the background, the rapid full off with it.
Yeah.
I think it's an absolute. The model and the pose is stunning. The lighting is stunning. But for me, I would kind of beg you to go back to a prime lens at some stage, because I always think that a new camera should come without the option to see on the back of the screen. Okay, so you can never see it for the first 6 months, all right? And it falls off then, yeah? And it comes with a glued-on prime lens that you can't take off for another 6 months with it. And I think the whole world of photography would completely change itself. But now we're on my soapbox. But
no, but to come back to your question is what's coming in the future. So I have one more shoot the 9th of June, and this is with Emma. She's a Dutch model. I'm very looking forward to her. I could tell I want to do something a little bit with mud on her face, and that's what I have in my head. How I'm gonna do that, I'm not totally sure. Give her a mask, or I'm not totally sure what I want to do with it. I'm not also sure if I want to do it an outside shoot or an inside shoot. Looking at the weather is probably going to be an inside shoot. So that's a bit of what I can tell you about this shoot coming up, and then I'm gonna go on a little break. To be honest with you, Mark, I'm gonna visit your beautiful country in the end of this month for 10 days. So I'm really looking forward to that. I was thinking. I'm going to take my camera anyway, so I was thinking maybe working with models there as well. But I think I need to give myself a little bit of space to get some creativeness back, because I started last year non-stop shooting, sometimes 4 models, sometimes 5 a month. And now I feel slightly drained with creativity, but yeah, like I said, sometimes ideas pop into my head, and I need to call a model and ask them to come as soon as possible. So the idea is to do one more shoot, and after that, a little bit of break.
Excellent. I'm never afraid of a break, because you basically need to almost like dump ideas away and actually allow yourself to have something. Or you might see an advert. I love Agent Provocateur. Their lingerie, not to wear myself, of course, yet, but online when you see their Instagram feed. And during lockdown, in fact, they sent cameras out to all their models, and the models were producing shots at home with the new lingerie, and the models were shooting amazing stuff. And it kind of really dipped me in a different world of boudoir photography and everything else, where these models were like, we can't work, but Agent Provocateur, who we're being paid by, is telling us we can work, but we got to shoot our own stuff, and we got to wear our own lingerie, and we got to be our own stylists and everything else. And all of a sudden we saw some great edgy kind of stuff coming through, you know. And I think unless you start to look elsewhere, but I enjoy that. I enjoy looking elsewhere to take a certain spice. Does that make sense? Where some chefs or some photographers, they have to take the whole recipe and duplicate it before they can move on. I enjoy looking and kind of looking for that little bit of, just that little kind of spark for me to kind of reignite myself again.
Yeah.
I don't think having a break is a bad idea.
No, and if I can only say is, I try not to look too much at other photographers, because I want to come up with ideas myself, and I try to think. I think that most of my pictures are quite original, or I try to be as original as I can. I'm not really seeing, I mean, some poses, and of course with the feel and with the but I try not to get in too much in other photographers' world, because I try to stay unique, and I try to stay not to be influenced too much by other photographers.
Brilliant. So if you're interested in seeing more of Alex's images, I definitely go across to the Purple Port page. However, the Instagram page shows a lot more imagery, isn't it? Even though it's covered up and everything else within things.
True, yeah.
Let me just bring the Instagram page up a minute.
And I have to say,
sorry, Alex.
Sorry, Mark. I have to say, Purple Port is a absolutely amazing platform to work with. I had to get a little bit used to it, but I think it's safe for the models. I think it's very easy to work with when you dive a little bit into it more. And yeah, just wanted to say that it's a very handy platform to look for models, to let other models know when you have a project, or you're looking for models, or, you know, for example, when you go to England, like I do, I say, well, I'm going to the UK, so I have these days maybe. So I just wanted to say, Mark, I really love this platform.
I only wish I got paid by them. Instagram. So we talked about, and as I said, you know, all the images are Instagram safe, but it's amazing when you kind of you put images up and then they get this kind of blocked image. But that's just one of those things, isn't it? In West, you know, the Western perception of nudity is too tied to, you know, the realm of shame and censorship, and it's compared to other cultures and things, really, which is just a really weird thing, isn't it? And I think everything's being branded, but that's one of the reasons for us to kind of do our own websites or whatever it is, so at least we can show the image, and our members get to obviously kind of don't have a censored version of any of the talk photographies that we do and things, really. Do you get any criticism or any judgment from the public or people who've seen your images, away from the models? I mean, obviously they're they're going to be chuffed with them.
Well, I got a lot of positive reviews, especially on Instagram. People really loving my images, and again, I try to empower the women and not make them seem like a cheap object. So, and I always try to do something else. So this is with the samurai theme I was really into. Then you had a little bit of the shibari, a little bit if you go more up, Mark. The Japanese, the Japanese ropes. I saw this a lot of Instagram, and then I wanted to do like an opposite thing. So instead of tying, I wanted to use slightly tying, but a lot of loose rope as well. She was also a model that modeled only for shibari and not very much for other things. So so again, yeah, but the models really enjoy my work, what I find very flattering. But yeah, there are some family members that don't really understand this. And they are like, well, they only see the nakedness, and I think they push it more to the realm of sex, and but I don't see it like that at all, to be honest with you. I think the naked body is something, especially of women. I'm a man, I'm a guy, so maybe that's a little bit logic for me to say, but I think it's absolutely amazing the way they look. Women, it's so empowering, and there's so much nude and sex nowadays on all different platforms and on television that I wanted to show something more classy, and I don't want to make it any erotic or it's the girl with the gun, for example. It's a little bit more like a FU kind of
Yeah.
I'm naked, but I'm holding my fingers on the trigger, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, some family members that are they don't really understand, but again, I don't blame them, because everybody is different, and I sometimes find their lives maybe a little bit dull, and they think I'm a little bit maybe extreme. So yeah, you always have this.
If you'd like to follow Alex, then obviously you can see the Instagram here. It's Alexander_Prinze with a Z, Prinze. And it'd be great to actually see you guys kind of get on board and actually follow Alex. And as I was saying to you before, the purple port is at Prinze, so you'll find that as well with it. And of course, the benefit of the purple port, and you don't have to have a paid membership of purple port to go on here. You can actually be a free member on there. You just have some restrictions in how many images that you upload and so on with it.
Sure.
Let's finish off with a few more questions, if that's okay with you. Let me
sure.
just bring that up. So look, you mentioned a word, or you mentioned about erotic. Do you believe that eroticism can enhance the artistic value of a photograph, or does it, risk overshadowing? Obviously, you don't do any real erotic work and things, but in your observation of what's going on in the world, do you think that the erotica can, overpower the art?
Yes and no, because you have degrees in eroticism, right? So you can, so what I remember when I was young, I'm from 1985. We had no phones, and if you wanted to see sexy pictures, you had to buy a Playboy or a Penthouse. Now, Penthouse was a little bit more vulgar in my opinion, but Playboy was still. What I liked about Playboy is that some photos were left a little bit more to the imagination, right? So you didn't see a whole boob or a full nipple. It was something you still had to fantasize about, and that's what I wanted to incorporate in my pictures as well. Is to, yes, the woman body is beautiful, and maybe you're a bum guy, maybe you're a breast guy, but I wanted to give this almost like this romantic feel about it,
Yeah.
and not to make it too everything open and too accessible. And then attach a little story to it. So give somebody a samurai sword, or put the model on a washing machine to almost make it a little bit like a poppy, like a pop style kind of photo. But I think nowadays seeing nude images and erotic images is so easy through TikTok, maybe Instagram, the internet, that I wanted to show something a little bit more covered.
When does an image become too provocative, do you think, for you? Either, whether it's in the shoot or what you look at. So who decides that the artist, i.e. the photographer, the subject, or the viewer?
I mean, all of them, I think.
All of the, I think.
Yeah,
That's my question, doesn't I?
Because I think it's. I mean, again, beauty is in the eye of the beholder, right? So, what is art?
What is art?
Well, yeah, what is art? What is erotic? For me personally, with gag balls and nipple clips, that's for me a very high level of eroticism that I don't find attractive. I don't. It doesn't spark my fantasy because it's there.
Mm-hmm.
But for other people, it sparks their fantasies, and maybe that's their entry level. So yeah, that's just very, very personal.
Do you think nude photography is fine art?
Yes, I think so. Yeah. But again, some people find it vulgar and find it very unnecessary. I mean, what I find art is somebody else could find it just a picture of a naked lady. So I try to explain to my friends that this is not an erotic experience for me. It's art for me. So I look through the lens, and I'm seeing the body as a sculpture, not as an object of pleasure. Yes, it could be that, but that's not the way I want to.
I know a lot of my friends over the 4 decades, they would absolutely die if I allowed them in the studio while I was photographing. They wouldn't know where to look. They just wouldn't know what to do. For the first, I remember doing an interview with the BBC years and years ago, and it was about the next top model, and blah. This is long before it became a television program throughout the world and things. But they were in search, and the sound man stood in the corner of the studio and for literally 3 hours didn't know what to look with. And it was I chatted with him later on, and he said, honestly, Mark, I don't think I've ever been so embarrassed in my life. It was like, what are you embarrassed about? And he said, it was amazing from the chatter, and of course he's hearing, but he wasn't looking at anything. And he said the chatter and the banter and the instruction, he said it was fantastic. He said, but I just daren't bring my eyes higher. And I went, why was that? He said, I was embarrassed.
Yes.
I went, but she was naked. He said, yes, but I was the embarrassed one. And I'll never forget that. And a couple of months on, he brought his family in to have photographs done.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah. We didn't talk about it at all then. I'm sure he went home to his wife and went, you'll never believe what I did today. But some of my mates would absolutely die. And they've all joked about it and things, really, over the years, because they find it that embarrassment, and that's how they're kind of dealing with it, is in a jokey way. Sorry, I cut you off there.
No. I cut you. Well, to be honest, Mark, I mean, these models are amazing looking models, right?
Yeah.
Feature body wise, and some guys like a little bit of like a more heavier lady or slim or whatever. So these are still ladies that are absolutely mind-blowing. Their physique, their body. So yeah, I can imagine that you will get a little bit like hot flushes of these situations, and they're butt naked as well. So yeah, and I still sometimes. I mean, I hold the camera and I have to look at them, right? But sometimes I'm also still a little bit like, oh. But after a few minutes getting into it, it's just a naked. But I can totally understand it.
Yeah. Any advice for somebody who's picking up a camera now and where they're going to be, where you are 12 months on, as it were? So any advice about a photographer who kind of fancies the idea of shooting some fine art kind of thing? Any advice for them at all?
Yeah, I mean, just take pictures of what you love, and if it's, I mean, I started with animals and with buildings here in Amsterdam, and with street photography. That's where I started with, and I watched the program, and for some kind of reason, I had all these ideas with the pictures that I took right now. So yeah, just buy a camera or buy a secondhand camera and just start. I mean, it's all got to do with start and finding your path. So I said, yeah, I started this a year ago, which is absolutely true. But I already started photography like 10 years ago when I was 30. Yeah. And it took me 10 years where I am here right now. I'm doing this right now here with this kind of photography. But yeah, if it's your passion, just do it, because then it comes naturally.
Yeah, agreed. Alex, it's been an absolute pleasure, and I can't wait to actually see what you're going to be doing in the next 12 months. I'm definitely dragging you back here, whether you like it or not, because it's been brilliant things, really. Again, guys, head over to Alex's Instagram, where you can obviously see a huge amount of his work and current work as well. It's updated all the time. Yeah. And to get there, you get Alexander_Prinze, Prinze, of course. And I mentioned before that you can go to the Purple Port page, and it's just, if you just search for Prinze, Prinze again, you'll get there with it. Alex, thank you so much, and happy trip to the UK.
Yes,
why you would want to come here, I've got no idea.
Well, I mean, Mark, you guys have a beautiful country. I lived in England when I was 19, and I mean, I'm a little bit in love with the English people. I think they're awesome. I mean, we had our battles back in the days in the 14th and 15th century. Sometimes we beat you, sometimes you beat us. So
no, to be fair, I've got to draw a line here now. You never beat us because I'm Welsh.
That's true. That's true. I'm sorry.
So
Mark.
Being a Welshman and being an Englishman and being a Dutchman, I'm more on the side of being Dutch than I am actually being an oh, I'm gonna get some stick for this, but everybody knows the friendly banter that we have with the English.
I apologize for that, Mark. But again, thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me. It was a really honor, and also to the people at home, thank you for sticking around. And it would be awesome if you follow my my Instagram and my Purple Port. And Mark, really thanks to you as well. I found it a very nice interview, and I love to come back. So thank you again.
My pleasure. We'll be in touch. Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. Bye bye now. Take care, wherever you are in the world. Bye bye.